Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Earth Experience with Kalina Angell. Are you ready to fall in love with the human experience? Are you aware of the divine soul that you are and why it is that you came here to have the earth experience? You were born in the 3D. Now you are ascending into the fifth dimensional being that you are. Divine Creator on earth, welcome to this experience. Welcome to this show.
Hello, everyone. This is Kalina Angell, and you are listening to the official relaunch of the Earth Experience. As many of you know who have listened to the show before, I've been in a long hiatus, and I'll get to that in just a little bit, but a lot of you know that I was in the hospital. But before I get into that, I want to talk about what we are going to cover on our show tonight. On our first hour, I'm going to be talking about some of the backstory of my experience in the hospital. I've kept to myself something very personal and dear to me, what I consider to be quite a celestial experience, something that was unexpected, that, to be honest with you, I'm a little nervous to share because it is so deeply personal to me, but I really feel like it would be a very beautiful thing to share with the collective because it has had a very deep impact on my life. And then I have a special guest, Rob Gauther, again with me tonight, who is, as many of you guys know, I'm engaged to, and he's the love of my life. He also channels Aridif, the ancient Pleiadian, and he also channels our beloved TReb Yit-NE, and I'll have him introduce them in a little bit to give you an idea for any of you guys that are new that are listening, who they are, and a little bit about the things that they channel. And then I'm just going to, on the second hour, we will get into taking questions and comments Anybody that wants to call in and talk to Ancient Pleiadian Aridif and ask any questions, anything that's on your heart, or if you prefer to talk with TReb, you can. I've been feeling a little bit more of a pull energetically toward Aridif for tonight's particular topic, but TReb or Yit-NE is always with us too for anybody who wants to ask TReb, because TReb is very, very irresistible, as is Aridif, as is our beloved Rob. So that's going to be a little bit of the idea of the show and the format. So without further ado, we'll get into the first hour. I'm going to introduce again the wonderful Rob Gauther, who is also the creator and owner of the Enlightenment Evolution Network, and of course the Earth Experience is part of the Enlightenment Evolution Network, and he also hosts his own radio show on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's called the Enlightenment Evolution Hour, and you want to introduce yourself, sweetie?
Well, thank you again, sweetheart, for having me on the show. It's wonderful always to be here. And I am Rob Gauther, and I think she covered most of my introduction. Most of you listen to the network are aware of who I am, what I do. I am having a blast tonight with the conversations and topics that are going on. So basically what we're going to do tonight is we're going to go through and lead all of the energy in the way of your own enjoyment and own excitement, and I'm just going to be here to help co-create that with all of you guys, and as well as you, sweetheart.
Oh, thank you, sweetie. Well, I want to, first of all, for anybody who hasn't heard of TReb Aridif, and I know that everybody who does know about TReb Aridif is like, oh gosh, guys, again, you're going to go through that again. But for anybody who's new to the show, I want you to talk a little bit about TReb and Aridif and who they are and how that relates to the Earth experience as humans. Like, what is it that they can, help us out or offer us in that direction? Because tonight's show is definitely going to take quite a bit of an ethereal spin, if you will, and you'll see why when I get into my story.
Yeah, all right. Well, TReb or Yit-NE, or TReb as we all call him, is a reptilian hybrid, and the hybrid part is the human. He's from a race called Nihal, future human versions, type 1 entities, lovely psychic beings who are a projection or one possible probable future human existence. So they came connected to his race. Now their race is fully a type 1 society. It's in the 5th density, which is one step before the last step before the Oversoul. So he's 2 steps removed from the Oversoul. Quite huge consciousness. Aridif is a 6th density, which is the last step before non-physical. He is the ancient Pleiadian. They now reside in TReb. He appears to be very humanish in his features, but I believe that he's not the basic humanoid that we all perceive. Originally, he's from the Pleiades, but as we know, Pleiadian energies are a span from all the way to like Bigfoot creatures, all the way to insectoids, to humanoids. There's tens of thousands of races just in that
kind of like the melting pot of space.
Yeah, they're the New York City of space, absolutely. And they're just one race from there, and they're beautiful now. It's the way they relate to humans and our Earth experience is quite unique. TReb, because his race that taught TReb's race came from future version of humans, they have a lot of human energy, plus their DNA is 50% of the future human. So they have a lot to do with energy of Earth. They've always connected to Earth's energy, but TReb's race really hasn't been hands-on. They've been hands-off with even their interactions with me. It's really considered hands-off because they're not physically here. They're not doing the work for us. They're just sharing
and that's
for
considered
us.
What you call type 1 entity. They don't interfere with your growth. They see you as totally capable in your evolution to your own enlightenment, and also see us as being able to co-create the realities that we want as a collective, to shift into the realities that we want to experience, because as many of you have already tapped into or learned, we can shift into the realities that we want to be in. We can co-create, even shift into the type of collective that we want to be in, because there's so many different collectives. So for instance, the Nihal, who are actually responsible for Treb's race, are one probable future of humans, which is really nice. I had brought up in Rob's show on Wednesday, the example of a lot of us have gone in the movies to see these futuristic movies, and a lot of them are so dismal. They show humans destroying the earth and it's polluted, but there are this wonderful race of Nihal, of humans who were derived from humans from the future, that are just wonderful. I mean, their version of us, the collective, has gotten along. We truly are unconditionally loving type 1 beings, and so just knowing and having that connection, with them, we know that is within us. If we want to shift into that reality, it's all a personal choice. Before I get into my story, I also want to say that if you want to talk to Aridif later on, or TReb, our number is 347-308-8788. If you're listening on computer or you are overseas, you can also connect to us via Skype through Blog Talk, blogtalkradio.com. You just sign up for a free account. I swear, promise, doesn't cost anything. Skype is also free if you need a Skype account. That's on Skype.com. And then when you are online, you'll see where a lot of you are already playing the link. A Skype button will actually pop up, and you just click on that. It'll take you into being able to call in if you want. But to do that, you'll need to press the plus button on top and then 1. And if you want to speak to us, press 1 on the keypad, whether you're on Skype or whether you're on the phone. That will let me know that you've raised your hand and that you want to speak to Aridif or TReb tonight.
Plus the chat. The chat feature is
also... yes, I forgot to mention that. We have the chat feature on. And I believe they see that if they're, online?
Yes.
At
if they're on the link that is linked to your show on the Enlightenment Evolution Network Facebook page or the Earth Experience Facebook page, they click that link. The chat appears on the bottom. And I'm not sure if that appears to the general public or only to those who signed up for a Blog Talk account.
Yeah.
But either way, you can sign up for a Blog Talk account if you want to be a part of that chat. And Kalina and I will randomly be using that throughout the night and taking questions from there too.
If you're more comfortable, we have an eye on the chat room, and we'll be keeping an eye on that as well. So, of course, we'll be keeping tabs on, who comes in first and whatnot. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just take a couple deep breaths and get in a little bit of my story, because like I said, to be honest with you guys, I am a little nervous because this is deeply personal to me. So I was into about my 7th week into my radio shows, and 1 second. What is it, sweetie?
Oh, good. I was just having you relax.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, the 7th week about.
Okay. So I was in, I had about my 7th week into the radio show, The Earth Experience, and throughout that I was getting spotty with illnesses. Now, just so you know, since I was 12, I've had issues with ongoing type of chronic fatigue. So it's always been a mystery to me about what that was about. It just seemed like I didn't quite have as much energy. And of course, in my personality, I also am a giver. So I'm thinking probably a lot of it energetically had to do with giving my energy away, wanting to be of service to others. But I was also kind of just, I guess you could say, hiding behind the scenes, helping to, lift others up in their dreams. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But what I was doing in the past in my life is I would give kind of sacrifice my own excitements for others. So I think it's wonderful for us to give and help out and be of service. That's all good, but you never want to overextend your energy. So I think that's probably where a lot of it energetically was centered from. I was also working on the whole concept of self-love, which is something that I've just been very deeply working on, especially with Aridif has been working greatly with me. And for many weeks we've had TReb on. TReb's been, Rob's been channeling TReb for a very long time. That's the first entity he channeled, we've gotten close to, but he also had channeled Aridif, but we weren't really connecting with Aridif too much. But we began to, I think on one of my earlier shows, maybe the third or fourth one, somewhere around that, and I found myself getting more and more drawn to this entity Aridif. He just felt strangely familiar, but it kind of started out in the distance, and it just seemed like on a lot of our shows, all of a sudden we started pulling in Aridif more, and it seemed like the closer he got, I started to simultaneously feel my illness come more and more to the surface, not from Aridif, but because the way I see it is, we're all going through these waves, very intense energies, and in order to have, all these wonderful experiences, these higher entities like Aridif come close, all of the stuff that I'm holding on to, all the old stuff that doesn't serve me anymore, begins to come up. It's kind of like, if you stir up a swamp, like anything that was, maybe not a swamp, but like water where there's muck sitting at the bottom. I guess a lake would be a better term to use. So it's like you stir up a lake and all the stuff comes up, and I think that's kind of what it was for me, if that makes sense. And so the closer he got, the more all that stuff in me that I didn't like, that I was afraid of, all of my fears, all of my concerns, all of my self-judgment, judgment on the world, all of that was coming up for me to observe, because I had made the commitment to self-love, and I also had made the commitment to, I wanted to be and still do be of service to humanity, but in the most authentic way I possibly could. But I was having anxieties, about having a public voice, because it had been so long, the kind of childhood that I had. I, much like Rob, I did channel as a child, although I didn't know of it as a name by channeling. To me, it was just speaking with, higher heart, speaking with other entities, even trees and whatnot, and having a very open relationship with them. But that was not met with, I was seen as kind of crazy and scary and all of that, even though I was very loving as a child. So I had, various experiences, and I just kind of not fully shut down. I've always been, I guess, for lack of better words, what you perceive to be a spiritual path. But the way I see it, we're all on a spiritual path. No matter what it is we're doing, we are contributing to the overall experience of life, of our oversouls, of God, universe, however you want to call it in the name. So getting back to my story, all of these things were coming up inside of me, and so my emotions were becoming stronger, and my physical body just was getting sicker and sicker. It began with me waking up with these really high fevers, and I would control it with ibuprofen, and I would be fine. This went on for about 1 or 2 weeks, right, sweetie?
Yeah, actually, it went on probably a little longer than that, probably about 3 weeks or so.
Yeah. And so eventually it got to where I just thought maybe it was, some kind of flu or something. We even thought maybe I had swine flu, because Rob said that it was just seemed just like it, and there had been a couple of cases in the area, right? So we were like, okay, it must be swine flu. But then I got so sick, and I was having these consistent fevers, and then it got so bad I was vomiting, and it's like I was in denial. Now, mind you, I've been to hospitals before, but I've never been an inpatient since the day I was born. So this was a big deal for me to be in denial about, and Rob was, saying you need to go to the hospital. I'm like, well, no, I want to create a reality where I don't have to do that. I was being very stubborn, working with my energy, but I was just, my physical body wouldn't have it, and I was getting delirious. And at this point, I could feel Aridif very, very strong in my energy field. It's very beautiful, and this is where a lot of intensities came in. One night, finally, I looked at Rob and I said, I think I need to go to the hospital, because I was literally feeling the breath of death on me. It was like nothing I've experienced before. I was actually very afraid that I would die, and I'd never experienced anything like that before, that I could feel it. And so I told Rob, I really need to go to the hospital. And so he took me to the hospital, and they did some tests, and they at first thought it was my gallbladder that was giving me these issues. I think they said it didn't really explain the fever, correct? But
right.
But they had done, I don't even remember the name of the machine, but they put me under some machine that, if I remember correctly, is it? It made you have to have certain times where you breathe and blow out and whatever. And so they said that the walls in my gallbladder thickened, and so they said, okay, we have to remove your gallbladder. So they took me to a different hospital, because this hospital didn't have, I guess, the doctor on site to remove it. Then a team of doctors, there's one team of doctors that decided to investigate it some more, and they said, we're not sure, we need to take more blood from you and test that out and see. And so they started to notice that the enzymes in my livers were completely off, and then there were some other things that just weren't matching, and it got to the point where the doctor was joking. I ended up with 5 teams at the end of doctors who were confused because things kept, changing. They'd do one test, and all of a sudden that particular thing would heal, and then something else would pop up, and then that thing would heal, and then another thing, or, it wasn't making any sense, so they weren't able to pinpoint, and that's why I ended up with like 5 teams of doctors who still don't know what the hell it is that happened. I had one doctor who said, you got to come to the hospital, that's fine, but you don't want to be interesting. This has become like an episode of House. So at least, it could be kind of funny. But anyway, during this time, I was getting very delirious. Rob was finding a little bit of the humor, and I was attached to the IV the whole time, and because I was like severely dehydrated. I was always having like a really high fever, 103 fever, and which is very interesting that it was almost always at 103, and you'll understand why later. So I was always attached to the IV, and they were giving all kinds of drugs and things, and I'm like all delirious. And then sometimes though I'd feel, like I said, that feeling of that brush of death and that fear of, I was like, I feel like I'm afraid I might pass away, and so sometimes I would have these little anxiety attacks, and the nurses would come in with, what is that stuff called? Do you remember?
Ativan.
Ativan. Apparently, according to Rob, I was like, kind of woozy after that, and then I'd pass out and probably snore my head off and whatnot. But at this point, Rob was feeling this energy that, do you remember how to pronounce that?
Yeah, the pronunciation, and I felt the energy for 3 or 4 days before I picked up on a name.
Maybe I should let you tell, that side for you, this energy, and this is part of the story, guys. While I was going through this extreme illness, Rob began to pick up on an energy before I did, because at the beginning points I was so busy with the fever and working through my fears, and I felt Aridif very strongly. A lot of his love, TReb's love, was very deeply. I could feel their energy very, very intensely. But Rob began to pick up on another energy that he felt was around me. I'm going to let him tell his story on that because, as you know, Rob is like super massive intuitive.
Well, what happened in my own perception is that you were there for 9 days, and from the first day I could feel this energy. I just kind of dismissed it because in hospitals there's lots of people who pass away, a lot of people who have their guides with them during sickness, so I just dismissed it completely. But the energy kept getting stronger, and for the first 6 days I was with you 24 hours a day. For the first 6 days you were there, and about the third day I started feeling it strong, and by the fifth day a name came to me while I was talking, while all three of us were talking to TReb and Aridif, and the name I got was Rarkirai. And I don't remember if that's exactly how it's pronounced.
Rarkirai or something like that.
Yeah. It's Rarkirai.
Yeah.
And that was the name I got, and I wrote it down because I could see it spelled, and I'm horrible at spelling, so I think they were just giving me a phonetic spelling of it.
Yeah.
And that name I picked up, but this energy was so huge. It wasn't the intensity that my recent encounter with the Nihal was, but before that, it was probably one of the more intense energies I've felt since I started connecting to Aridif more regularly.
And you weren't, at that point, you weren't sure of what it was, but I remember you telling me it felt very feminine. He thought maybe in the beginning it was like one just very big massive entity from a very high density. And I think you were even say it felt even bigger than Aridif to you, which is really, very intense, and that was around me. What was interesting is during this time I had this sudden thought about Arcturians, and I'm going to give you a backstory about what Arcturians mean to me. I'd had, with my very first session with TReb, TReb told me, because I had always felt like, almost like this feeling that I didn't belong on Earth. I didn't feel like I could be human. I kind of felt like an outsider growing up, and which is one of the reasons why calling this show The Earth Experience is so dear to me, because if you're born here, even if you're, some kind of a hybrid, you are part of the Earth. You are in the collective. You are a part of it. But anyway, I lost my track of thought. Where was I going?
You were talking about how the Arcturian connection in the first session of TReb.
Yeah, so I was in this state where I had this sudden realization about Arcturians, and I'd heard of something about healing chambers, but I was going to go into a backstory. I'm going to have Rob help me with my memories, because that's been one of the things I've joked about. My memory has been it's just been so all over the place lately. So, and I know that's the way it is for some of us lately, but the first session I had with TReb, he told me about my family. In fact, actually, the first bit I got was from my dad. He had told my dad and myself that we are from the fifth density Arcturian race. They are 3 feet tall. They're blue. They have very large eyes. They have 3 fingers, and they're very psychic. They're very loving, and they're just really big into service. And they
technologically most advanced, and one of the most advanced in the galaxy.
Very spiritual, and that really fit. But they also have almost this just really wanting to be of service to others. There's this deep, profound love, and for me, apparently, I was literally a star seed. And that's why I'm nervous sharing this story with you guys. It's hard for me. It's very personal to talk about this because I really do want to focus on the Earth experience. But this has been very healing, so I'm going to share it with you guys anyway. So I found out that the feelings that I'd had growing up, it made a lot of sense, like, for instance, when I was younger, I didn't really understand the emotion anger. It was very scary. It didn't make any sense to me. which is funny because if you dig deeper into my linear past, there was the reality where I was a Draco way before I experienced being Arcturian, and boy, you couldn't get much more of an anger issue than that, So and of course we've all had these, and ultimately we are all starseeds. But I guess in TReb's definition of starseed, it's one who has literally come back into like a recent coming back into from the earth, no, from one collective into another. So I'd literally gone from the fifth density into this one, into this experience. So into 3D, which now we're shifting into the fourth density. That's what we're in flux of. So anyway, so going back to, what was the other thing that I was going back to? Okay, the night where I was laying on, while you were having this experience, realizing these beings around me, I had this sudden awareness about the Arcturians, and I don't know if this is true or not. They said something about healing chambers, and then I was on Facebook briefly, and I saw something one of our dear friends, Vashta, posted to not be, something along the lines of not being afraid to ask the Arcturians to be of assistance. And I thought, if they're a family, and I told them, I know you're type 1, and I told them I was crying. At this point, Rob had gone home. He was with me as much as he could be, but, he had to go home and take care of his son who has cerebral palsy. So at this point I was talking to them by myself in my room, and I said, I don't really know if there's a such thing as a healing chamber, and I know you're type 1. I know you can't interfere in any way, but I really could use, I'm going to try not to cry, guys. I could really use your love and your support right now because I'm scared. I don't know what's going on with me, and I'm afraid I'm going to die, and I don't want to die. And if there's anything you can do to help me stay in this world, because I could feel it very strongly, and even the doctor said, there was a possibility. And, Rob was being very, very strong. He was making sure that he was shifting into the reality where I'd be alive. But I, in my moment on that bed, I didn't know. And so I think it was later that night or the next night, I think the first thing I felt was I could feel Aridif support. I could literally feel him kind of transform, and not really transform because he could, it's hard to explain, but I could feel him in the end like a little energetic ball about the size of a baseball going up and down my chakras. And I had asked Rob if that was real or had I imagined that, and it was true. He was basically aligning my chakras, which I think was helping me with the experience that I was going to have, Meanwhile, I'm trying not to forget everything because there's just so much to cover.
Sure.
Meanwhile, I will make sure you help me with the session remembrance, because what was I going to say? I'm sorry, guys. My memory is I literally had to write stuff down because there's so much. Let's see what happened before the dream.
The chakra, Aridif came in and aligned, and then pretty soon after was the dream, or at least my...
No, now I remember. Okay. So you guys, every morning, around 3, they would come in to draw blood, and I wasn't sure what time it was, but I literally looked like I had some drug issue, because I was literally my arms were just covered, and if I'd been on the street, it would have been really bad. I'd probably be arrested on the spot. And I was what's going on there, girl? But anyway, one night after having this talk with the Arcturian family that I was talking to, I had this experience where I kept hearing the word channeling in my head, that they were going to channel, and I wasn't sure who this they was, but I could feel them very strongly, and I could feel, even though I was laying in my bed, I could feel, this is going to sound strange, it felt like, with me, imagine the third eye area, it felt like I was flipping upside down, if that makes sense, my consciousness, who I am, is flipping upside down, and another face of consciousness, if that makes sense, was going to come forward and say something. But I guess you could say the ego part of me, the part that was afraid, like if the nurses and the people who were coming in to take my blood would come in, I could feel very strongly that something was going to be said, and I was afraid that if they saw me do that I was going to be taken up to the top floor, which basically, I was afraid they'd think I was mental. And the other thing I was very afraid of was, even though I knew on some level that this wasn't the case, there was still that fear of dying. So I wasn't sure if I let go, because that was the big thing. The big thing was I had to let go in order to have this experience fully. And I said, whoever that is, I just don't want them to walk in, and I want to make sure that I'm not dying. And so then the energy softened, and so instead I had this dream of like what seemed like just hundreds and hundreds, like just a top of little blue heads. And I knew that they were turning just a bunch of bald blue heads everywhere, And it went on just probably for hours until I woke and told Rob about it. He's like, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe this, but I had a session with someone who asked about your health and how you are, and he wanted the entities that he's connected to, which are very benevolent type twos. Like they're very, very loving, but
right.
They said, I kid you not, they said, we cannot connect to her, because they tried to connect and see how I was doing, and they said we cannot connect to her because the Arcturian 103 are surrounding her, and we cannot get through this. Like, almost like, I almost want to say they were protecting me, not from them, but just energetically. Anything that could be bombarding me in that moment, because I had asked for that assistance, so it was okay. And I'm going to tell you also why they were able to do that. So I was feeling very overwhelmed with love, because I could feel these beings at this point, and this was like, maybe 3 days after you told me about this energy, and then we realized it wasn't this feminine, they can feel feminine because of the intense, that kind of intense, loving, nurturing kind of nature that they have. But he was thinking it was one entity, and turns out there are 103. And so I was like, well, why these 103? And Rob and I were on the phone one night, and it was pretty late, and I said, well, why these 103? And I could feel my heart open up. It was like if you could imagine a lotus and just completely opening up wide. It was almost like I could feel this hole in my heart chakra, but it was getting filled with love, so there wasn't any, it wasn't anything bad. It was getting so full of love that the answer came right into my heart chakra, and it was that these particular 103 Arcturians were from my oversoul. And I started crying, and I told Rob, oh my God, I know the answer. And I said, but I want to check in with you because, he's mastered his, his channeling. So I said, is that true? Oh my God, is that true? They're from, our oversoul. And I say our because Rob and I are also part of the same oversoul. And he said, yes. He's like, oh my God, baby, I'm so happy and proud for you. Got the answer. And it was just extremely intense, a very, very loving feeling. And later on, Aridif told me that these are the beings that if I allow them in more closely, that they would be the bridge to my own channeling, my own experience. So it was very wonderful, and I think it was within just a couple of days after that, I was deemed well enough to go home, but I needed to take it easy, which is why I continue to stay on hiatus. And they've just been monitoring, and it looks like things are normalizing. In fact, when I had mentioned the chronic fatigue earlier, I have days where I still experience the fatigue, and then I have other days where I'm just full of energy. So it's been very interesting that all of that fluxing, and I've been working with shadow working, as Aridif has called it. I know there's lots of psychology terms and other spiritual groups and things that have a very similar terminology, shadow work or shadow working. But this is basically dealing with, I guess the word dealing would probably not be the right word, but all those things that you judge yourself for, you bring them up and you find out the true root of it, and you strip away the story. You find out what your true belief is on, through your true knowing as your higher self, as part of the fractal that's connected to the Oversoul. And it's been very beautiful, and we're going to, I'm actually going to release that information in about a week. So if any of you guys are wanting to learn shadow working, it'll definitely be up on TReb channeling, and I'll make it available in some other places. It'll be free because the next thing I wanted to get into for a little bit is these waves that we've been experiencing. It's been very intense. I mean, my story is just one story of many. A lot of you are going through things, or you're seeing people go through things. There have been, like I said, when I asked TReb, Aridif, and the 103, was it true? Could have I really died? And they said yes. It was your opportunity to exit this world if you wanted to. If you just decided that you didn't have the excitement for it anymore, if you wanted to leave, if you felt like it was just too much, you can, and there's no judgment in it. And with these energies, there are people who are very dear to us, and it's not saying that they're not excited. There are a lot of people who've been leaving this world who are very passionate about their work, but it's also about what we need in our experiences, what we're shifting into. As you know, we have been seeing a lot of illnesses. We've been seeing a lot of deaths in our personal lives, families, pets. Then we've also been seeing, some of you have been experiencing extreme financial loss, maybe even gain. We've had some people who were rendered homeless that we've talked to, and they actually worked on it, and they've gotten through it really well. They found that the universe does provide, but it was very scary for them. They're all going through. Then there are people who've had relationship the things that they've been dealing with. And so all of this, in my mind, is part of shadow working. I think we're all shadow working, but the important part of that is finding the, I know this sounds like totally cliche, but finding the silver lining is very important, because what it's doing is our 3D models are just not quite working anymore. It's shaking things out of us. Some of us are being given the opportunity to either cross into a totally different reality altogether, to cross over, whatever that means, to shift. But it can seem very daunting at times, very scary for the ego, for instance, which is there, but especially was very good, with serving in the 3D model, and the 4D model, the fourth density model that we're working on getting into. I feel like we kind of shift back and forth. Like I said, it can seem very daunting, but it's also very beautiful. I want to have Rob share some of his insights on what he feels is going on. We've spoken about the waves too. So, Rob, what's your feeling on all of this with the energy that's going on, and how is it positive? Because I know a lot of people are going through a lot of stresses. It's very scary when something happens, like what happened with me. What is it that you're seeing in your perception?
Well, TReb Aridif brought across the idea of the three waves of energy that are going on. The first wave incorporates those people who are dealing with their faulted or limiting beliefs. They are getting their butts kicked. They're dealing with illnesses, financial issues, relationship issues, death, all those things. Then we have the second wave of people who are going through the process of dealing with those and coming out of it, they're on the back 50% side of that. So basically, the first wave, you're dealing with the first 50%, realizing that your beliefs are faulted, going through the agony. The second part of it is just emotionally dealing, mentally trying to warp your energy around to be able to overcome it. So they're basically coming up to the top of the surface instead of mudding down below like you used to. And then the third is those who are okay. You know, we're just okay right now. We're going to help the people who are going through steps 1 and 2. And they are not sequential. They don't happen in any order. They are just randomly there, and it is to what your energy needs. So what I see happening is people are dealing with these beliefs. They're going through difficulties. Those difficulties are always bringing out the best in them. They're bringing out the absolute best in their personality, in their capabilities, ability. All these things within them are only gaining from this. And those who are on the wave 3 who are helping are also learning about themselves in the meantime. So all of these things that are really happening right now is just that. It's people are learning to leave that 3D model behind and start working on the very building blocks of the 4th density. They're learning how to love themselves, how to love others, how to connect to their heart and mind, because a lot of people leave the mind out of that equation too. But it's very important for us to use our mind after we've discerned with our heart. And this is what we're learning to do. And it's tough. Sometimes it feels bad. But if we can shift our perception from this is teaching us how to be more of who we want to be instead of looking at it as a pain in the neck or dragging through the mud or just this horrible thing that's only happening to me. When we get out of that victimized consciousness and victimized thought process, and we go back to our original roots of being empowered, then we see what all these hardships are truly there for, and that's what all of us are doing right now.
Yeah. It's just a really, I would say it's just a very adventurous experience, you know. A lot of the movies that we often watch to entertain ourselves, like a lot of them will tell, and, you know, I mean, no offense to any of the writers or anything, but they just pale in comparison because they're just these incredible experiences we're going through. And like you said, the waves can happen. You know, I've had things where I'm dealing with stuff, but I'm also helping, you know, others, or others are helping someone else. And I think these are things that's helping to pull the collective together to learn about unconditional love. We share in each other's joys and hardships, and you know, I have people near and dear to me. It just seems like it's like one damn thing after the other is you know, going on with them, and but they are still very loving and helpful to others, and they're going through something that could be very scary. You know, they could have the loss of a child, and yet they get in those moments, in those spots where they're loving in a service to others that they really love, because they've learned that importance of that connection with others that they truly love. Just like I love you, sweetie.
Oh, I love you.
And I'll tell you what, and I told Rob this many, many times, you know, when I realized that I had that opportunity to exit this world, like, no way do I ever want to leave any world that Rob is in. So.
Well, I'm grateful that you didn't too.
Yeah, and I'm very happy to be here and to fulfill the dreams and the excitements here on Earth. And so now you guys have an idea into why I called it the Earth Experience, because, you know, I am very ethereal by nature. Obviously, with the Arcturian connection, I also have a fairy connection that Nora Harold, who's also a great channeler, made me aware of, and so it's very it can be very, that's why, like, you know, for me, my memory, like, I just lose sense of time, and, you know, it's just funny. It's like I was diagnosed with ADD as a teenager. It's like off the wall lately. But, I mean, I'm always like, Rob, what was I doing? Where am I going? You know, if the doctor's always like, we might want to test her for early Alzheimer's or something. I don't know what's going on, you know. but it's kind of comical sometimes, but it's good, and I know it can be kind of weird transitioning back and forth and letting the 3D model go can be kind of scary sometimes because you're like, oh crap, I get to be the crazy person on the street, Was I talking and answering myself while in the store? Oops, sorry, but or not sorry.
Oh.
So anyway, I see some callers popping up. I want to also remind you guys of the number and then the way to raise your hand. The number is 347-308-8788 for anybody that wants to call in and ask a question. Just hit press 1 on your keypad, and that will let me know that you have a question for Aridif, who we're going to be bringing in just a little bit. Also TReb, if you prefer to talk to TReb. And then I also want to remind anybody, especially anybody that may be international or just does not feel like calling, I guess that would be long distance for some people, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So if you're not calling in from a cell phone or an area that doesn't charge you like ungodly amounts per minute, even if you're super abundant, you're like, I don't want to spend all that, you can also call us through Skype via Blog Talk Radio. And that is free. If you go to blogtalkradio.com, you can sign up for a free account. Skype is also free. When if you're listening through the link on the computer, when you refresh it, you'll see that the Skype button will pop up. You'll actually see it below the window. You'll see the Skype icon. You click on that, and then you'll be connected directly to, and then just press the plus button at the top. That'll open up the keypad and press 1, and that'll let you ask a question. So I definitely want everybody to feel included, no matter where you are in the world, or even outside the world. If you're on a spaceship, that could be fun.
That would be really fun.
That'd be very interesting. You'd be like, okay, tell us about your Earth experience if you have one. Anyway, what I'm going to do.
Also the chat.
Oh, yes, the chat. We have opened up the chat room. I'm not seeing anybody chatting, so hopefully we've gotten the right thing. I'm seeing several guests logging in and out. I might try opening up a different chat room if I don't see anything, or if somebody wants to type in hi, just so we know if it's working. You can also ask TReb or Aridif your questions. So what I'm going to do, because I want to make sure we get plenty of time, is I'm going to go ahead and roll the announcements, and I do need to say something I forgot to say in the beginning, and that is our wonderful, beautiful disclaimer, which, as you know, the Earth Experience is part of the Enlightenment Evolution Network, and so anything that I say in the show or guests or anybody is not necessarily opinion of the Enlightenment Evolution Network, although we love and value all ways of thinking, being, and experiencing. But I just wanted to put that out there because we do have many, many, many different viewpoints and opinions, and just wanted all the listeners to know that tonight. And I also want to thank, I'll say the first 3 letters, MAG. Thank you so much for the hi and the heart so we can know if it's working. So yes, the chat is indeed working. I believe it shows up on the link. If you go to blogtalkradio.com and search for the Enlightenment Evolution Network, you'll see my show is the first one that should pop up tonight because it's live.
Or go to Enlightenment Evolution the Enlightenment Evolution Network Facebook page, or the Earth Experience with Kalina Angell page, and it's the link that's right there, or Kalina or myself's Facebook if you're friends with us. Yes.
I know Rob is super popular. I still have plenty of friendship spots. So it's good. Like I said, I can be a little sneakily behind the scenes, but I am trying to crawl out a little bit, a little more. So
well, I'm grateful for you coming out and sharing your heart, your insight, your ideas, and everything about you is so brilliant. And when you bring this to share with others as a gift, it really changes people's days. And I don't think you see how great of a profound impact you have on people. Thank you for sharing your heart.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I also feel like that can be said for all of us. We're all learning to be our authentic selves, are we not? And what a shame. I don't like the word shame. It would be sad in its own way if we didn't allow ourselves to be who we truly are, to express our deepest excitements, our deepest passions. I know it can be scary. A lot of us have excitements and passions that can seemingly rub up against any kind of family or society ways of thinking. But in order to be who we truly are, in order to truly live, in order to truly give the gift of ourselves to the world, it means we have to learn to live in our authentic selves and appreciate ourselves and not judge ourselves for that. So if that resonates with you all, I'm on the path myself. I'm learning it myself, and that's where I'm going to make sure that Aridif's 10-step shadow working is available, so that if you guys want to work on that, I'll let you know next week on my next show where that'll be, how you can access it, and it will be free, and you can share it, you can make copies of it, whatever you want to do, please help yourself to it. Now, I am going to take a much-needed water break and go ahead and run the announcements. We have incredible shows just almost every day. Mm-hmm. So, thank you, Magda, I think, on chat. Thank you so much. You guys are so sweet. Anyway, what I was saying, we have some incredible hosts, and we have a show almost every day. So pretty soon we're going to have 2 shows a day. Mm-hmm. We have 2 different networks, so I'm going to play those announcements so that you guys can hear about the different variety of hosts, what kind of topics they offer, what kind of things they do. Like, for instance, Rob specializes in channeling and talks about metaphysical topics. Well, we have hosts that talk about a wide gamut of topics. So I'm going to run those, and then you guys can find out which days of the week and what kind of other topics that you can listen to on the Enlightenment Evolution Network. And we will be back in just a few minutes to start getting Aridif and TReb in, so that you guys start thinking about what kind of question you want to ask. It will be 1 question per person. If you want to have a backup question in case we have a chance to go around, just depends who is in order. We still have, looks like we have only 3 hands up. We have several callers, but if you want to ask them a question, just dial 1 on your keypad. The number again is 347-308-8788, and we will be right back. We love you guys.
Hi, this is Kara Newman from the show About Oneness, and here's what's coming up on the Enlightenment Evolution Network 1 and 2, starting on Monday, October 20th, until Sunday, October 26th. Simply put, Rob Gauther, founder of the EEN and the host of the show that started it all, the Enlightenment Evolution Hour, has put together the greatest metaphysical radio network ever. 7 days a week, we have shows that will aid you on your path to enlightenment, evolution, and ascension. On EEN1, Mondays at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is Heart to Heart Talk Radio with your host, Daniel Scranton. Join Daniel and his featured guests discussing a wide variety of metaphysical topics. Daniel channels the Creators, the Hathors, Ophelia the Fairy, and Archangel Michael, and the latest, the Unicorn Collective. Daniel and his guests will take phone calls and questions, and it's sure to generate high-frequency discussions. You can find more about Daniel at his website, danielscranton.com, and also on Facebook. Go to the Events tab on Daniel's website to learn more about Daniel's upcoming events. On Tuesday at noon, also 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, please join hosts Megan Crandallmeyer and Rachel Archelaus for Radio Inspiration, Expression, and Abundance for their show, Soulfulpreneur. Spiritual business specialists Rachel and Megan will bring you inspiring conversations with people who are living their soul purpose. Frequent guests include psychic mediums, channelers, coaches, artists, and authors. They end every show with psychic readings and business coaching. Your questions about your spiritual business or life purpose journey are welcome. Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific, is the show that started it all, the Enlightenment Evolution Hour with host Rob Gauther. Rob channels TReb on the first Wednesday of each month and will take callers' questions. On the third Wednesday, we'll have special guests such as guest channelers and other metaphysical teachers. The other 2 Wednesdays are freestyle call-in shows to discuss whatever callers have on their minds. Tune in to Rob on Wednesday nights, and you can also find him at trebchanneling.com and on Facebook at the Enlightenment Evolution Network group page. Rob has 2 special announcements. Starting on Sundays from September 14th, trebchanneling.com offers hour-long meditation classes. Please go to trebchanneling.com to register. Another project near and dear to Rob's heart is the much-anticipated sequel to the groundbreaking film Tuning In, called Tuning In Now. The movie will feature channelers such as Daryl Anka and Bashar, Lee Carroll and Cryon, and our very own Rob Gauther and TReb. Tuning In Now will explore the amazing work of today's top channels and how they are helping to awaken the consciousness of the planet. The film is in fundraising stages at the moment, and with a contribution for as little as $15 all the way up to $50, you can help make sure that this film is made. Please go to Indiegogo.com, that's Indie, I-N-D-I-E, Gogo, G-O-G-O.com, and type in the search Tuning In Now 2. That's the number 2. Tuning In Now with the number 2. On Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific, join host Philip Malika with the Consciousness Evolution Hour. Join Philip and his special guests and co-hosts as they discuss the shift, ascension, timelines, metaphysical concepts, and the 5th dimension. Find Philip at the Consciousness Evolution 2.0 group page on Facebook and on YouTube. On Friday, The Earth Experience with your host, Kalina Angell, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. The Earth Experience explores our soul's expansion through our human experience on Earth. Kalina will help you to navigate and expand through the exciting confusions that we are manifesting as new 5D beings. On Sundays, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Pacific, is my show About Oneness. About Oneness is a weekly radio program focused on celebrating the ongoing conscious awakening of our planet and our realization of oneness. I'm an American originally from Charleston, South Carolina, now living in Europe, The Hague, the Netherlands. I'm an integrated channel, medium, Reiki master, and metaphysical teacher. I have a varied and diverse background, including that of being a singer, dancer, writer, as well as working in the sport, nutrition, and fitness world. As a channel, I bring forward the information of my non-physical guides called Theos, whose message is always that of oneness and unconditional love. This show for me is about integrating all of my experiences and following my highest excitement, which is tapping into the truth of the universe. If you would like to find more about me and my show and my upcoming guests, as well as see many videos and channelings and teachings, you can go to aboutoneness.com. On the Enlightenment Evolution Network 2, join host Victoria Vives every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific, hosting Earth Sky People Radio, your bridge between heaven and earth. Subjects will include planet Earth becoming part of an intergalactic society, star seeds and extraterrestrial life, living in oneness with one another with Mother Earth and with life beyond the Earth, the Interstellar Alliance, also known as the Galactic Federation of Life, music, frequency and sound healing, question and answer interviews, shamanism, ancestral wisdom and the star nations, self-sustainative and regenerative living, and much, much more. Please go to victoriavives.com/radio, where she has details about the show and the network. On Saturday evenings, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific, the Pied Piper and Texas Rebel hosting the show Disclosure Now. Disclosure Now is the On the Edge of Our Seats show that covers all topics of disclosure, from the world's most famous and obscure UFO cases. Pied Piper started his journey in Michigan in 1993 as a preteen seeing Bigfoot and never could get enough in investigating all things paranormal. Texas Rebel is a wild Texas man who loves the same journey and has studied these things for years. Join them as they cover all things in the human experience that just cannot be answered by anyone. And our newest show, starting on November 2nd, hosted by Neil and Sol Gar, The Resonance Intention, from 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. The Resonance Intention show is dedicated to all things frequency and vibration. They will showcase conscious musicians who infuse frequency into their music and have set out to uplift and raise the vibration of humanity through their music. They will have in-depth conversations with various artists about their passion, purpose, and personal journey that led them to where they are now. Additionally, they will routinely have guests on the topics of free energy, technology, and other quantum modalities, technologies that are coming into existence now. The Resonance Intention is a platform for artists, musicians, and inventors to increase awareness of their personal approach in order to contribute to the paradigm shift that we are currently within. And remember, you never have to miss any show from the Enlightenment Evolution Network 1 or 2. All shows are available to listen to again immediately after they air on playback. All right, back to the show.
All right, we're back on. Just 1 second here. There you are, Kalina. Go ahead.
Hey, thank you, sweetie. I wasn't sure what to press, so I didn't see well, that's like a technical thing we'll get into later. So what I've done, guys, if I sound a little bit different on the microphone, it is because I have moved into a different room, so it will not be so echoey as it has in our recent past where I was trying to hit mute and then unmute and then mute and then unmute. So I want to make sure that you all can hear Aridif and TReb and each other all very, very clearly. So I have moved into a different room. So, Rob, you can hear me loud and clear?
Absolutely loud and clear.
Yay! All right. Well, as many of you all know, Rob has to do first what he calls neutralizing. So he's going to neutralize his energy out, which will help him to become more, basically more ready to receive TReb and Aridif energies. And like I said, tonight I am a little bit more focused on, for whatever reason, what Aridif has to say. But I feel like if in your heart you are feeling called to ask TReb a question, please feel free to do so. I just have this feeling that Aridif wants to speak on something about this topic tonight. But I would definitely encourage you that whatever it is in your heart that you feel, whoever you want to speak to, or if you want to ask both of them a question and get their take, the same question can be directed to both of them, please feel free to do that because it all is about following our hearts. So, Rob, have you started with neutralizing yet, or do you need us to give you a little bit of time?
I'm starting at this time, and it should only be another minute or so, and we'll be all good to go.
Awesome. So I'm going to take some big, deep breaths. And I also want to remind you, if at any time you want to ask a question, just dial 1 on your keypad, and that'll raise your hand. And if you are listening from the computer and you prefer to ask via phone, it's 347-308-8788. And then you just hit 1 on your dial pad. You can also press 1 on Skype if you're listening via Skype. I'm just taking a few more breaths.
All right, I'm breathing too, and I'm gonna take a drink and be ready when you are.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm drinking some water too.
All right, I'm ready. Whenever you're ready for me to start, I am ready.
I am ready. All right, now you're gonna bring Aridif directly in, right?
Correct.
Awesome. So,
Yep.
For anybody who hasn't heard this yet, you'll notice there's a difference in the way that he, sound-wise, that he brings in TReb or Aridif. So this is such a treat if you haven't heard it before. So, without further ado, sweetie, whenever you're ready.
All right, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Love you.
We'll see you on the other side. I love you too, baby.
Love you.
Good evening, my name is Aridif, this is Aridif, and this is it spelled. We know that you have many questions for us in this evening. We are ready to begin when you are.
Hi, Aridif.
Good evening, Kalina. You are loved, and we appreciate to connect you.
Oh, I love you too very much. And I want to thank you for being here and sharing your love with us, as always.
Although the thanks is greatly appreciated, although your words are very kind, there is no need for thanks because this is the greatest excitement for us in this time. Thank you again.
Aww. Well, before I begin taking callers, I wanted to, because I know I could feel your energy with us during this entire conversation, and I wanted to know if you had any additional, how was the word I'm looking for, take on what we've talked about tonight, any kind of insights that you wanted to share with us regarding the topic that Rob and I spoke of tonight.
Yes, there are many things that we wish to share, but we will have to do this in one moment. There is a technical issue that we are dealing with in this one moment.
I will go out there and assist you, and I'll be right back, everyone. One moment.
There is one part that needs to be...
Started? Is this the,
No, this is the small chip.
What are you looking for? Oh, you need this?
That is not it either.
What is it related to? Sound?
Ability to use the keyboard. It was one that was placed in this area and now needs to be replaced. This needs to stay within this area so that this does not remove its usage.
Or was it low on battery?
Correct.
Okay.
The other was there, and it was dropped upon the floor. This is
like a phone charger.
It is one that is this small. The entire piece.
Oh, it's like a Congo.
Yes. Should be in the area there.
Okay. Well, I will look for it if you want to.
Yes.
If you want to begin speaking.
What we are going to express in this evening for all of you is that during your own times in this planet, your energy has been moving from side to side. Your energy is shifting in each moment with the Earth collective consciousness. The Earth collective consciousness is a byproduct of the solar system collective consciousness, and all of these things co-create together in great amounts of resonance and energy with one another. As you have experienced the blood moon, as you have experienced the solar eclipses in record numbers for several hundreds of years, you are noticing now that the coalescing of all of the energies in the collective consciousness are coming to a precipice. This is why your energy, this is why your experience, and this is why your personal journey seems to be so difficult and so happy all in one time. As you co-create this experience in this moment, you will find your own greatest excitements come to fruition if you are brave enough to step into your excitements. If you are not able to step into those excitements, then you will find yourself going through more work of energy within itself. This is something that we have shared many times, but plainly and simply expressed in this one moment, we wish to explain to you how important these excitements are. Expressing yourself in any way, in any energy, is the most important part of your co-creation, of your energetic moments. This is what we wish to express. We are receiving from Rob that this will not be necessary in this moment.
What is this, the dongle?
It will not be necessary for the furtherment. You may resume your duties upon the other computer if you wish.
Thank you.
Thank you. You are loved.
You are loved too.
We will resume once questions begin, and the questions will come very soon.
All right, everybody, I'm back. And Aridif, can you hear me?
Yes, you are loud and clear, just as your energy.
Oh, thank you. This is funny and very fitting with the Mercury retrograde. Okay, what we're going to do, we will go ahead and take our first caller. I'm waiting wow, we've got quite a few holds here. Okay, we've got 512. Who do we have with us, 512?
Eric.
Hi, Eric. How are you?
Perfect. How are you?
I'm awesome.
I want to thank everybody involved, and plus I want to thank Sharon for reminding me of this call at the last minute. I'm sure she's listening in.
Aww.
Anyhow, so I cannot believe there's only a handful of people that have questions, but that's okay because I'm pretty greedy with my questions.
Oh, well, we've actually had quite a few people raise their hands since. In fact, we've got probably about 15.
Okay. Well, I have a question for TReb.
Okay.
Is TReb?
Yes. One moment
Okay.
as I connect to TReb or Yit-NE.
Sure.
Yes! Good evening.
Hi, TReb. Hi.
Good evening,
How are you?
Eric. I am doing well, and how are you doing in this evening?
I think I'm doing okay. I just have some questions. I'm part of a first contact group, and anyway, we have created a portal that we do a meditation around, and then we walk like a 3-minute hike up a hill, and we do our sky watching. And two things that happened around the portal while we're up there. Number one is we have a towel or like a little carpet that sometimes when we come back, this carpet is soaking wet. I mean, it's just drenched. It's wet as it can be without actually dripping, whereas the ground around it's dry. But also, we also have some lights that happen 4 times. It's just like this lights that go off at the portal while we're up on the hill sky watching, and I'm just wondering what those two items are.
Yes! Let us express to you in this evening that in your excitement, in the co-creative excitement of those who are sharing and co-creating your excitement about contact in the first degree, or first contact is better expressed perhaps, in this excitement you are co-creating this specific vortex as you have expressed, and in creating this vortex you are using an intent to place an energetic synergy or synergistic energy that co-creates with all others, and in this intent alone is enough to give permission outward to all entities who wish to co-create with you. And in this experience, in the wetness of the carpet, you are calling entities who are multidimensional, who are existing within the earth plane. Some of these entities in your own personal folklore, in the history of the earth, are represented by those of the entities that you would perceive as gnomes or fairies, or entities that you would perceive as mythical by nature. These entities are co-creating that expression with a specific area to show you resonance, to show you that your work is pulling in energy and information. And in this idea, although you have wished to experience the extraterrestrial portion of this within first contact, this is what the lights are for. The lights are entities who are coming into your experience via orbs, and sometimes when you are experiencing the lights that are more so in the sky portion, these entities are ones who are going within their ships. Remind yourself that in your creation with these entities, that there are 6 density entities who do not need spacecraft, who will appear to be very small orbs, and the ones who are pinpricks of light within the higher sky in your future that are moving very fast and very awkwardly in your sky. These are entities who are in a craft, but also remind yourself that you are drawing these multidimensional earth entities such as the fairy consciousness, the gnomes, elves, whatever you wish to describe. These mythical creatures are also wishing to co-create with you. So in your perception of only focusing upon the extraterrestrial energy, you are missing out on specific energetic synergies or synchronicity. Let us express that. Yes, it is synchronicity with synergetic energy attached to this, and we are trying to find a word that links both of these. But let us not further dive into this word and express that when you are connecting to these very specific energies, remind yourself to only open yourself to whatever you desire, but know that if you are only desiring one outcome, that it can leave a multitude of outcomes that could appear to be there as well.
Oh, how exciting, how exciting. Hey, not to be, I actually am very excited about the idea of the gnomes and fairies, but just a question, can we expect, do you got an idea when we can expect first contact?
Yes! In your energy and the way that you are perceiving it now, with the excitement that all of you have, if you are looking at contact in a face-to-face way, there is a probability that is of a 21% that is within the next 2.5 years. But in the majority of all of the probabilities that you have, there is between 5 and 7 years for face-to-face contact. But let us assure you that if your excitement stays where it is, if you continue to co-create that experience, that there will be many more contacts that are not face-to-face before then. And the longer that you connect to this and the longer that you dive into your excitement, the more synchronistic and synergetic these two energies shall become. the more clear it will be to be able to express that what you are seeing is definitely not your own imagination or just some weird energy that happens to be there in that moment. There will be more synchronistic in each moment, and it will show you very plainly and very regularly that you are co-creating the experience that you desire.
Oh, great. Believe me, I have enough excitement for the whole group, so I'm sure I'll be creating that.
Yes, and we are very excited as well.
How exciting. Thank you, Treb.
You are very welcome.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Good night.
Thank you so much, Eric, for your call. And we love you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Love you.
Yep. I also want to take the time to say hello, Treb. How are you?
Yes, we are doing very well. Good evening, Kalina.
Thank you. And before we move on really quickly, did you have anything you wanted to add to tonight's topic that we spoke of earlier?
Yes, I wish to express to all of you who are going through these difficulties that when you are looking at your excitements, this is not only a band-aid, as many have insinuated, that excitements are only a band-aid upon your problems, that you are turning away and ignoring your problems when you are living in your excitements. But let us express that this is not always the case, that when you are living in your excitements, if they are your true excitements, that it is not a band-aid, it is only a pathway to greater excitement. And this is what we wish to express of this idea in this evening.
Oh, thank you so much, Treb.
Yes, you are very welcome.
That's really awesome to know. And so moving along, I'm going to take the next caller in line, 312. Who do we have with us this evening, 312?
This is Patrick.
Hey, Patrick.
Yeah, hey.
How are you?
Nice
Patrick
talking to you again. I'm
you
fine.
You too. Oh, my gosh, I'm so excited. How are you?
Good.
Awesome. So, do you have a question for Treb or Aridif?
I will talk to Treb this time.
Okay.
Hi, Treb.
Yes. How are you doing this evening, Patrick?
Good.
Yes, it is very great to speak to you again.
Yes. Have I been doing good as far as my growth since the last time I talked to you?
Yes, you have been doing very great. Even in your times of worry and panic for your love for other entities, even though you have given of yourself in those moments to try to comfort and aid others, what you are doing is expanding in all moments. Even when you are doing something that is not helping your spiritual growth in the way that you desire and in a deep fashion, even when you are doing something that is not perceived to be good energetically, let us assure you that all things are great. Even if you are doing something that is against what your excited growth would be, this is still helping you grow and expand. In the time in which we have initially spoke, in that specific time period from then until now, you have done a great amount of expansion. Your experience, your understanding, your capacity for love, and your capacity to connect with your own self and own heart is very much higher of a degree than what we have connected to when we have connected to you previously. And what we wish to express to you is that we are very happy and excited and proud of you for making your growth in your own excitements.
Okay. Yes, because that's the main problem I've been having is like when other people close to me are going through rough times, it's difficult, to figure out how I can assist them, especially when they're so close to my energy, if they're going through a really rough time.
Yes, we understand the concept of humanity in the way that they perceive others' hardships. When you see someone that you love, it tends to affect you in a negative way as well. But let us assure you that the entities that you are deeply loving the entities who are going through what you perceive as a problem, let us assure you that it is not a problem at all. Even if it appears to be very negative, even if it appears that they are in great amounts of pain, in the same way that you have been able to grow from loving this person, the same way they are growing by going through this experience. So what you can do if you desire, if you wish to connect to this specific idea, is when these entities are going through hardships, or what you would perceive as hardships, try not to see them as if there is something that is wrong with them. Because of your love, you know in your own heart that there is nothing wrong with these entities, but when you perceive that they are not doing well, that they are feeling bad or negative, what your energy is doing is perceiving them to be in a specific negative way. And when you are doing this, you are projecting a reality in which the version of that entity that you co-create with is also sick, is also depressed, is also negative. So what we suggest in this specific idea is try to see only the greatness of this entity, try not to feel sorry for them, see them as the sovereign entity in which they are, see them as the strong, independent person that you love, and always know that no matter what experience that they are going through, that there is nothing wrong with them, and that they will always receive your love. This is the greatest help that you may give to anyone that you love who is going through hardships or who are going through anything. Fully accept, fully allow, and fully support.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, you are very welcome. Before we disconnect in this one moment, I wish to express to you my great gratitude and great love for you, as when I know that the host is connecting to you, there is always a great excitement and joy of seeing how well that you have done and how greatly you have expanded. So thank you for this.
Aww. Okay,
yes, thank you as well. Good night.
Okay.
Thank you for calling in, Patrick. And Robin, I love you, and I hope you're very excited to hear you called in.
Yeah, love all you guys too.
Aw, much love from across the lake.
Okay.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Aw, such wonderful people we have here. Okay, so the next caller we are going to take is 330. Who do we have with us, 330?
Hello, this is Bobby.
Hi, Bobby.
Hello,
how are
you?
Is this the Bobby I think it is?
Yeah.
Oh, nice to hear your voice.
It's nice to hear yours
too. Thank you. Did you have a question for TReb and or Aridif?
No offense, TReb, but could I talk to Aridif? Because I've never spoken before.
There is no offense taken in this concept. One moment, please, as we connect to Aridif. Good evening, Bobby. We are here without delay. Whenever you are ready to speak, we may answer your question in the best way we can.
It's a pleasure to speak to you for the first time, Aridif.
It is a pleasure also to speak with you. You are loved.
So, I'm so excited. I'm getting nervous. But my question is, so I've been practicing to start channeling, and I've been doing just the automatic writing as a first stage. And anyways, last night I feel like it was one of the most clearest times I ever did it without interfering almost. And I was just wondering if you could tell me or connect to the energy and tell me what entities I was connecting to. Because I keep getting the names messed up, so they just told me not to worry about the name at this moment until I can get more clear with it.
Well, let us first express our own opinion and view upon the entirety of this concept. First of all, the idea of who and what it is exactly not important. The entity is expressing not to worry of the name in this time, because what you are doing when you believe that you are messing up, you are placing an energy within the transmission that does not allow the full expression of the entity to come through. What you are doing is doubting yourself. What you are doing is doubting your own ability to open yourself in all degrees. What we suggest that you do in these moments is place your own specific transmission of a grounding technique. Also, acceptance of all that you are, reminding yourself through mantra state in whatever form you desire that I am perfect, I am not plugged up, I am not resistant to energy, I will transmit in full clarity. Doing this will help your growth exponentially. Now, secondly, to address the question at hand, first we wish to express that this entity is a portion of your oversoul. It is represented as a fifth density entity from an area of the planet in which the name does not place a specific vibrance knowledge to us. We do not have a knowing of the specific name, but what we can tell you, the entity has a vibrational signature. All entities have a vibrational signature. Let us express that an entity in which TReb Yit-NE has described previously as Pli Na Ki, true vibrational status to all who do not know his given birth name would be Ra Ta Ke. You see the difference in these two names, and now you know the difference in the expressiveness of each entity's consciousness in a way it desires, and the way that the entire universe sees this entity. So let us express once that this is only the vibrational signature that we are receiving. It is Ra Na Ke La.
Ra Na Ke La?
Ra Na Ke La. This is the name of the vibrational frequency at which it holds. This is what you would call the galactic name of this entity. Work through verbal transmission, using this as a mantra, as a tone, as a vibrational singing, and once you begin to connect to that sound vibration, the true name of this entity as well as the clarity of the information that comes through will be strengthened exponentially.
Oh, cool. Could I ask another question about that entity?
Yes, you may ask one question of this entity.
All right, cool. Could you tell me anything about its intentions in connecting with me, or like in regards to what it would like to do, I guess?
Yes, what we can say of its intention is that its intention is the same intention as your intention. What we mean by this is you are only able to channel an entity whose intention is the same of yours. At this moment, your intention is to connect to an entity who will better serve your knowledge base, better describing your own self through a transmission that will gain access to knowledge. This is what this entity is doing as well. When you let go of the concepts of yourself trying to channel an entity to gain knowledge, instead of looking into yourself for knowledge and then expanding outward, you will always have slight resistance. The resistance will fade the more that you connect. The resistance will fade the more that you accept your own self and your own transmission capabilities. But once you place an intent that is more clear, you will receive a channel that is more clear. See your power, see yourself, place the intention, connect in this way. Thank you. You are loved.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling in, Bobby. We love you.
Thank you. Love you too.
All right. Next caller we are going to take is 832. 832, who do we have with us?
Hi, this is Chris. How's
Hi, Chris.
I know you're doing good.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm a little excited.
Oh, that's okay. I totally understand. I still get that way. I can be right next to Rob channeling, and I still get the jitters. So, did you have a question for TReb and or Aridif tonight?
Sure. I guess I'll ask Aridif. Appreciate TReb being here tonight, and I feel like asking Aridif a question.
Yes, we are ready for your question. We are doing very great in this evening. Thank you for asking.
And so I just want to say that I like everything that you guys are doing. And I think I had a breakthrough in one of my dreams last night that it felt like there was an argument, and I responded with love. And just by saying that, the conflict resolved, and it felt great. I woke up and I remembered it. Yeah. But back to my question, I just wanted to get that out there. The question is I believe I had a synchronistic moment. It was with a man that I met over a year ago, and it had to deal with meeting him by chance, of course, synchronistic, about a company or a business offer. A year later, he texts me, asking me how I'm doing, and then my son, my little toddler, brought me a business card with his information on it. And I was wondering if you could shed some more light on that.
Yes, we may shed as much light as you wish to on this specific synchronicity. You understand that it is a synchronicity, and this is the first step in growth. You see it, you know what it is. This synchronicity is brought to you through the design of the Oversoul to show you something, a path that may lead to greater excitements. We have always expressed to all of humanity in all of the thousands of years that we have connected to you that to place yourself into your excitements is the key for deliverance of your excitement and happiness in your existence. So what you may do, if you desire, is to connect to this entity to explore more synchronicities that can be made through the pathway of excitement that originally began with the card, with the email, with the text message, with your communication with this entity. It is not out of any order that this card is brought to you. It is a design of synchronicity through the Oversoul to show you one possible and probable pathway of developing your own excitement, and stepping forward and taking action upon this excitement is essential. If you do not step into action or do not take a step forward based in action to your specific excitement, regardless if it is this specific excitement or any excitement that presents yourself, you are cutting off opportunities to follow more synchronicities. We understand that many humans in this point of evolution are stepping back and examining their excitements before they step. Let us request to all of you that if you wish to examine it for as long as you wish, this is acceptable. This is your path. You may do with it as you will. But what we can tell you, by hesitating and pausing and not acting immediately upon that excitement, you are now taking away specific opportunities to have synchronicities to different levels of excitement. And what we mean by this is if it is in your excitement to step back and to examine it further, then lead yourself to wherever the excitement comes from the strongest, whichever pulls towards you most dearly or most accurately, then step into that specific excitement for that moment. If it is your excitement to explore and examine, by all means do this. But if your excitement leads you to a path, step into that excitement immediately, and you will be guaranteed more pathways of excitement. Thank you. You are loved.
Thank you.
And Chris, thank you for calling.
Okay, guys, have a good evening.
And you too. We love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye. Okay, and I see we have two of the same area codes. So what I'm going to do is read out the first 6 just to make sure we get the right one. So we have a 360267. Who do we have with us this evening? 360267.
Hi, Kalina. This is Risha.
Hey, Risha. Oh, my gosh. I've been enjoying you on chat,
I'm just loving this show tonight. So wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Oh, my gosh. It's so awesome to hear your voice.
I'm like you're saying, you're excited. I'm so excited I can hardly talk, to tell you the truth. And I would love to speak with Aridif.
Oh, yes, please.
Yes, we are here awaiting your comments, Risha.
Oh, thank you, Aridif. Well, I'll tell a little story first. 3 years ago, Stanley and I followed our excitement and moved what we feel like is the edge of the earth, right out to the Pacific Ocean to be in our little cabin. And we've known that there's a possibility that this cabin, the land will be eaten by the ocean and it will be eroded away. And we've had 3 years of absolutely fantastic life, of experience with the nature elements. It's just been so wonderful for our spiritual development through this time. And now is the time when the ocean has begun to eat away our property. And so we're both fine with that because there's such excitement in it. There's excitement in the change, and we've grieved all we're going to grieve years ago for the cabin, and so we can let go. That's no problem. But just recently, I've been getting the feeling that maybe we could jump a timeline and go to a place where everything is more or less higher dimensional and the cabin doesn't get eroded away and washed into the ocean. And is it just my higher excitement, my feeling that would lead us that way? And I don't think I'm just wishful thinking because I am ready to let it go. But I'm wondering if you could give me some clarity around that.
Yes, we absolutely can give you clarity on this specific situation. What this represents is the eroding of all things that necessarily do not benefit you. You see this area that it was great growth, great love, great excitement, and now you see it beginning to get closer and closer to the place that you dwell within. Now you are saying that you are willing to let it go. But in your energy there is a subconscious fear to let it go. There is a small portion of you that does not wish to let it go. If you are truly willing to get rid of this energy and express to your deepest parts of knowing that you are ready to let this go, then you will see one of two results. As you are co-creating with your partner, both of you have your own ideals, your own necessary concepts of what you believe is the greatest excitement. And if you are both truthful with one another of what your true desire is, to exist the rest of the world in one of two places, either there or elsewhere, then you will see the outcome that you most desire in the greatest portion of your heart. Now let us assure you that if your house was to be swallowed by this eroding field into the ocean, then this would be your grand design's greatest pleasure. This would be an opportunity to move into an area that would make the growth in the previous 3 years look as if it was nothing compared to the growth that you can come in front of. But if you can remove that subconscious fear from your heart, then you can have the same amount of growth in this same place. So be honest with yourself, be honest with one another. Now, your idea of going into these specific vibrational fields that are higher, that are more resonant to a full sense of the existence, this is also true. You can have that in this area or other areas, but there are other areas in the world that have called to you. Explore those areas that are calling to you. Find out what it is in these areas that are calling you for. There is an expression that one of these places that both of you are desiring to go and look and visit at very deeply and very strongly, that you have not stepped out on your excitements to do, that area is calling you for a reason. If you are able to go to this area in your excitement, you will see the answer if home is going to be upon the ocean or if it will be elsewhere. Look into this specific energy very deeply with great honesty within your heart and mind, and you will see the outcome you desire.
Oh, Aridif, thank you so much. It's a win-win.
It is always a win-win as long as you are willing to connect to your own heart and your own love. We must express to you also that we are excited to see your willingness to let go of anything that can restrict you and to hold on to your own heart's knowing for betterment and expansion of consciousness. You are loved.
Wow.
Thank you.
Raisha, believe it or not, I can relate a lot to your story, even though it seems like it might not be. But I don't know if you knew this, but just a tiny bit over a year ago, I lived in Naples Island, Long Beach in California, and I could walk to the ocean, and the Pacific Ocean, that ocean I always refer to as my ocean, even though there is no such thing as my ocean. But
yes,
I had a lot of healing there. I used to walk. I would even go out. A lot of people would say this, probably I shouldn't have done this, but even at like 4 a.m, if I needed to, and I would walk for miles along the ocean and hill, and did a lot of work there. And so to this day, you know, I'll miss it every day, but I've had so much growth here, and I'm happy to be with the love of my life. But I feel a lot of healing, you know, through listening to your story, because there is a part of me that has a hard time letting go of, like, you know, the ocean is a very dear friend to me. And so listening to your story, it you know, and hearing what Aridif is saying, it's giving a lot of you know, healing for me. And I know that whatever is going to happen is going to be amazing for us. It's going to be a great adventure, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. Yes, thank you. And it is. And what Aridif said about eroding away, it's eroding away of these resistances, and we're all doing it. I do it, it helps you, and when you do it, it helps me, and it's wonderful.
Oh, well, thank you so much for calling in and sharing yourself. And see, that's another example of how deeply connected we all are.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, we love you. And send my love to Stanley, too.
I'll do that. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so we only have 9 minutes. Aridif, are you okay with taking one more very quick call?
Yes, if the time in your linear time is quick, we have time as much as you are willing to give.
Wonderful. Well, we have a Skype caller, and I'm only going to read out the second half of the name. The second half of the name is Thor. Who do we have with us this evening?
Hello, Kalina. This is David.
Hi, David. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, thank you for calling in. Did you have a question for TReb or Aridif?
I would have a question for TReb, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Yes, one moment and we will connect. As we know this is the last question, we will express our good nights for the evening, and we will bid you adieu until the next time. Thank you. You all are loved.
Thank you. We love you. You are loved.
Yes! Good evening, David.
Good evening, TReb. My quick question would be, the last time that we talked, you told me about a group of reptilians that was connecting with me, and since then I've been focusing a lot of connection to them. And my question would be, if I would be able to channel those entities, maybe in a similar fashion as the host is channeling you, or in another way that I can actually physically express their energy through me.
Yes! Let us express to you that in this evening, with your excitement, with your focus on attention to these entities, you are already expressing some of these concepts. But what you may do to build more connection, to build more expression of what these energies are into your own self, is allowing yourself to open your heart to all the connections within their energy. There are subconscious fears that many humans have about connecting, and especially when you are looking at the reptilian energy, this specifically sends a specific fear through your DNA. The DNA of humanity has been very scarred emotionally by energies and entities that are reptilian by nature. So what you may do to help alleviate this is to express an excitement as you are doing. But when you are expressing this excitement, connect to your physical body, connect to your chakra system, and when you are giving love and expressing excitement towards these entities, express to your own body to accept the energy, to co-create with this energy. And as the idea of channeling, in the same fashion that the host is, this is one way that you are able to connect, but let us express that when you are beginning to draw or to write with your hand, that this step would be a very great area for your own consciousness to begin with, as doing this is less resistant than the vocalized channeling. And once you work upon this one energy of drawing and or writing specific energies, then you will find that the energy is more incorporated into you, and that if you desire to verbally channel after you are able to connect in a writing way, it will become much easier.
Yes, I thought about that. Thank you, that's a great confirmation.
Yes, you are very welcome.
Is it necessary to write with my hand or with the computer, or doesn't it matter?
Yes, either one of these is fine. It is the idea that your hands are subconsciously moving as your heart is opening, and that when you focus upon your crown chakra, third eye chakra, as well as your third chakra, your solar plexus chakra, these are the energies that can help you align with the automatic moving of your hand.
Okay, great information. Let's see what will come of that.
You are very welcome.
I hope I can serve in healing the scar that we have between humans and reptilians.
Yes, we are all playing our part in this specific concept as we are speaking.
Thank you for assisting me.
Aww.
Yes, and thank you for assisting me as well.
All right.
And David, I wanted to ask you very quickly, did you hear the Enlightenment Evolution Hours Wednesday show by chance?
Maybe. I listened to one in the meantime. I don't know if this was this one. Why do you ask?
Because there is a mention of the healing of the emotional scars between humans and reptilians, and the gift is given by the Nihal, who, this is one of the many gifts that comes out of it, who created TReb's race. And the Nihal are a future probability, depending what reality you want to shift into, future humans. So I thought that might be something very interesting for you to hear about. So if you want to listen to it in the archives, it was just this past Wednesday, just a couple of days ago.
I will check it out again anyway. So if that's the topic, I will definitely listen to it probably more than once, yes. Because that's in my highest excitement as well.
Oh, definitely. And I know it's on Rob's page, and I think it's on mine as well. I believe he posted it there as well. It would have been, I'm so bad with math, I literally have to look, on the 22nd. So if you look on it there, and then also on Facebook, the Enlightenment Evolution Network on Facebook, it'll be posted there.
Does he have it on his YouTube?
Actually, we will be eventually putting it on YouTube. I know we're a little bit behind on putting those up there, but we will be getting eventually all of the shows up on YouTube. But if you wanted to check it out, I just thought to let you know that it is there. It will have the word Nihal in the title.
The host is expressing as well that if you wish to find the link before the evening is over, you may place it in the chat if there is time for this. And then the link will be available for all to see.
Oh, Treb, thank you. That's a great idea. I will look for that now. We've only got 2 minutes, so I'll go ahead and look for that now. And I wanted to say thank you to David, and I also, Treb, I am just so happy that you're here tonight, too, and I wanted to thank you as well, both you and Aridif, for being with us tonight.
Yes, you are very welcome. We are very excited to connect to all of you and co-create in this evening. We will reconnect the host so that he may help in the expressions of this last 2 minutes. And with this being expressed, we will leave you all this evening in love and in light, and we will experience each other again very soon. Good night.
Thank you. Good night. And also, David, are you available to get on the chat? I went ahead and posted it on there.
I see it, yes. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Awesome. Okay, I think that will be a real treat for you. And Rob, are you back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello.
How'd everything go?
awesome, and we we used up every minute we could. As you can see, we have like a minute, like a little over a minute left. It was just incredible. We have the most beautiful people. I do want to say that for the couple of people who didn't get their questions in yet, never fear, because Rob will be channeling again on the first Wednesday of next month. So that will be, let's see, the 5th. The 5th of November. So very, very, very short time from now. So mark your calendars, November 5th. And call in as early as you can, and you should definitely be able to get in. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody, and thank you to Rob, to TReb, to Aridif. Okay, I'll try not to be shy. I'll even thank myself, because it took me, it was very, very, very intense for me to share my story with you guys, but I'm really glad that I did share my heart with all of you tonight. And I just want to say I love you all very much, and as Aridif would say, you are loved. Much love to you guys. I will see you next Friday. Love you all. Mwah. Good night.
Love you guys. Night. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.